British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour government has been under intense pressure from scores of its own members to demonstrate more robust support for the Palestinians. But a terrorist attack at a synagogue last week in Manchester, which led to the death of 2 people during prayer services on Yom Kippur, one of the holiest holidays for the Jewish community, that has now exposed a competing political reality for the British Prime Minister. There is growing anger among Jews in Britain who believe that Starmer's government is doing far too little to protect them from the rising hate and the rising anti-Semitism. The Manchester police have said that the synagogue attack was carried out by a man named Jihad al-Shami, who's a British citizen of Syrian origin. They say that he was influenced by what they describe as the extreme Islamist ideology.
A vile individual committed a terrorist attack that attacked Jews because they are Jews and attacked Britain because of our values. So many Jewish families first came to this country as a place of refuge, fleeing the greatest evil ever inflicted on a people. And Britain welcomed them. Communities like the one attacked in Manchester provided safety, but also the security that comes from a promise that this is a country that stands up to hatred and that we don't just provide refuge, we provide a home.
The anger at Starmer's government was especially evident during a vigil that happened Friday for the victims of the synagogue terrorist attack. David Lammy, who's the Deputy Prime Minister, virtually the number 2 in Starmer's cabinet, was booed off the stage by a crowd that angrily chanted, "Shame on you."
Shame on you! Shame on you!
They loudly demanded that Starmer government stop all these pro-Palestinian marches, saying that they instill fear in the minds of Jewish residents. On Saturday, there was a massive protest in London against the British government and its ban of a pro-Palestinian group. That rally went ahead despite a formal request from the London Metropolitan Police to cancel it. More than 300 people had been arrested for holding signs which supported Palestine action. On Sunday, there was a separate rally, a counter-rally of sorts in Trafalgar Square, honouring those who were taken hostage during the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel. It called on Hamas to release all the remaining hostages, which is the first point of the Trump peace plan, which Hamas has now agreed to. Tuesday marks the 2-year anniversary of the Hamas attack in Israel, in which 1,200 people were killed. These 2 back-to-back rallies over the weekend, one in support of an independent Palestine, the other in support of the abducted Jewish hostages, just a day apart, mark just how starkly divided Britain is on the issue of the war on Gaza, and also, by consequence, whether the support or the hate that is directed at Israel and the Jewish community at large.
Today is a day to remember the deaths of over 1,000 people 2 years ago, and that is, of course, terrible. But if that is terrible, what is killing perhaps as many as 200,000 people in Gaza since then? And those are murders not just created by a separate state from Britain, but actively supported by this country in terms of diplomatic support, military support, sending weapons. The RAF and other military sections of the British society have been supporting what's been happening in Gaza, and it's not what the British people want, it's not what these students want, and it's absolutely outrageous.
Keir Starmer rose to power in the Labour Party by pledging to rid its ranks of anti-Semitism that had flourished under his predecessor, Jeremy Corbyn. Eager to repair his relationship with Britain's nearly 300,000 Jewish voters, when he was elected Prime Minister back in 2024, Starmer said in his acceptance speech that anti-Semitism was a stain on his party, and he vowed to tear out this poison from its roots. But a year plus later, the pressure and the politics on Starmer has completely shifted. There are about 4 million Muslims in Britain right now, and the 2-year war between Israel and Hamas has galvanized them as the death toll in Gaza has now gone upwards of 65,000.
So today, to revive the hope of peace and a 2-state solution, I state clearly, as Prime Minister of this great country, that the United Kingdom formally recognises the state of Palestine.
Starmer at the recent UN General Assembly formally recognized a Palestinian state. This happened last month, a step which many pro-Palestinian activists said was too slow in coming. More than 250 British members of parliament from 9 different political parties, including Starmer's party, the Labour Party, signed a letter urging Britain to recognize Palestinian statehood. Britain joined France, Canada, and Australia as some of the leading Western countries to recognize an independent Palestine. But Starmer is facing increasing pressure from the right, which has now manifested itself into multiple political parties with their various iterations. The most popular politician on the right happens to be Nigel Farage of Reform UK, who's a populist right-winger, much like Donald Trump in the United States. 2 months ago, Farage unveiled a plan where he said he would deport up to 600,000 illegal immigrants out of Britain if his party, Reform UK, is voted to power in the next elections in 2029. Multiple polls have shown that Nigel Farage is the most popular politician in Britain right now, and immigration, illegal immigration, is the #1 hot-button issue. And right on cue, the new leader of the Conservative Party, or the Tories as they're known, the traditional opposition party in Britain, Kemi Badenoch, has unveiled a similar plan where she says that the Tories would deport up to 150,000 illegal immigrants out of Britain every year for the next 4 years if they're voted to power. The fact that this was announced by a black woman, Kemi Badenoch happens to be a black woman who's the leader of the Conservative Party, whose parents moved to the UK to birth her. She then grew up in Lagos in Nigeria and then moved to Britain only after she became a teenager at 16 years old. The fact that she was talking about deporting illegal immigrants, a majority of whom are people of color, that was an irony that was not lost on anyone. It's a reflection of a broader hardening of the debate around immigration in Britain. It's happening not just on the fringes of the political stream, but also within mainstream political parties, whether it's Reform, whether it's the Tories, or even within Labour Party. And no politician, not even the Prime Minister, can be immune to this immigration debate that is rampaging across Britain. Or the Prime Minister or any other mainstream politician, neither can they afford to sit on the sidelines of this, whether it's the Prime Minister or the Prime Minister in waiting.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.